first sex lesson was administered by the actual homeroom teacher, and he gave us like 20 minutes to laugh. He goes, he goes, all right, look at this, get it out of your system. And I recall like the laughing period being over, but I was nowhere near done with the laughter needed for the penis and vagina models and all the talk that was coming.
Sure.
Welcome back to Oops the Podcast.
All right, lots to unpack here.
I got something for you.
Please. Julio, I don't know where you came up with that idea.
Dude, this guy was a huge turkey.
What is this, Japan? Which is
Yeah.
one of the reasons why I hadn't told you about it.
No, and I also just assumed you were saving it for the pod if you were going to tell me,
Yeah.
which of course you were.
Oh,
But-
yeah. Welcome back to Oops the Podcast. Joined as ever by the intrepid Julio Gallerati, the Buzz Lightyear of podcasting.
The Buzz Lightyear of comedy
Yeah, that's right.
to infinity and beyond,
Yeah.
baby.
Here we are,
I rolled with it.
as always, in our lovely purple chairs.
Purple chairs.
Which always feel comfortable for the first 20 minutes and then become deeply uncomfortable after that.
I find them comfortable.
You think that these chairs have decent lumbar support?
I'm more of a sloucher than you.
Yeah,
though.
these are slouch chairs.
These are slouchies.
Yeah.
Slouchy
You
boys.
feel like a slouch potato in these. Well, good to see you, old boy.
Big Francis in the mix.
I had a bit of a fun weekend. I played some golf.
Dude, I felt Francis called me. And I just like straight up don't have phone call service at my parents' house. Like I could like FaceTime audio, but I'm like, this is just pointless. And then
Why do you say that that's pointless?
because it's just like such a thing. Like now I'm FaceTime audioing you.
Dude,
and like
that is so silly.
No, but okay, but the Wi-Fi doesn't work as well downstairs.
Oh.
It's just like one of those things where I'm like, I don't want to call you on Saturday and have to be like,
No, I agree with that.
you know?
But I would say that FaceTime audio, once I discovered it, was a groundbreaking thing
It
to
is
have
good.
found out about in my life.
It is good.
Because then the audio quality is incredible, and you can call people in Europe and stuff and not incur long distance fees.
I know, which is
And
great.
but you don't have to be on your best looks
Yeah,
because you're not full FaceTiming.
totally.
It's not as intimate and, revealing as a FaceTime.
It's not as steady if you don't have really good connection though.
Yeah, fair.
But it's good, whatever. So when that happens sometimes when my friends call me, I can kind of tell which of my friends are more, there's specific examples. I'm not actually sure about Francis, which is why I'm glad we're talking about this now. But like sometimes if somebody calls and you don't answer and then you don't call them back, like I sometimes worry the implications of that. Like we're on the eve of this big Francis moment. And
Oh,
camaraderie's high,
big team moment.
big team moment, big
Are you talking about
Francis.
the wedding?
Yes.
Oh, sure. That is
Yeah.
a big Francis
Big
moment.
Francis moment, but it's also a big team moment.
It is a big team moment.
The boys will all be
The whole team's coming.
in attendance. There won't be a dry eye in the room. I'll be looking at Chris specifically to see if a tear has dribbled down his
He's going to
cheek.
be laughing.
Chris is just an emotional basket
You
case.
going to be crying, Chris?
Chris is an emotional basket case. We have having technical difficulties with Chris's mic.
This one. Hello, sorry.
Here
There's
we
a
go.
power switch on this. Yeah, I'm going to be crying like a little
Are
baby.
you really?
Oh, yeah. Dude, I've seen you every single day for the past, I've seen you more than most of my friends.
Yeah,
Then, yeah,
that's true.
me and Hillary
Oh
are
my
just going to
God.
be bawling our eyes out.
The emotion.
I
this
actually
is-
thought about this.
This is really exciting. I can't believe it. I wonder what is going to be the part that you're crying at.
There's no part about it, bro.
Yeah.
What is the part? There's a part.
It's just overwhelmed by emotion of the significance of the moment.
Yeah.
You think?
Yes, dude.
Not a specific word or speech?
No, it's not like, oh, the second he saw Sierra's corsage or whatever. I don't know. That's the thing for the prom, I believe. But you know what I mean. You know what I mean. Like, it's not going to be like, oh, the second I saw the way that custom suit fit Francis's shoulders, that was it.
So you don't. Okay, so let's walk through it, right? So we're all chilling, and the ceremony's starting. The little band, little trio of string people. I don't even know what we have, but let's say we've got a harp player up in the tree somewhere.
Very nice.
I don't know. It's just perched up there with a
Very
little
nice touch,
littler harp.
Francis.
I don't know what a littler harp might be. It might be a harpsicola. I don't think that's right.
A harpy?
Harpsichord? But isn't a harpsichord a anyway, you get what I'm talking about. A little
a little
lute?
harp.
No, a lute's a woodwind. Yeah, that's.
They're plucked rather than hit with a hammer.
Oh, they are
How,
plucked.
how
They're
interesting.
plucked.
Is it big?
Yeah, it's about the same size as a regular piano.
See, we don't want that up in the tree.
Maybe a flute.
We want someone up in the tree with a small 6 to 7 string instrument, which
Like-
he can cradle in the crook of his arm and play like he's summoning the elves
That's
to
freaking-
dinner.
That's nice.
So that's what we've got. I'm up there, waiting for my bride.
I think that's the moment when she's walking up to you and
I
then
think
you
it's
look at each other.
I think it's when the music changes,
Oh, yeah.
everyone stands,
Yeah.
and we see her drift in as though on a dream.
The
Yeah.
bride's beauty will
You
be
know,
too much for Chris to handle.
Maybe her gown
I'm gonna
is
cry just thinking about it.
is
Look,
over her feet, so we can't even
Chris is
tell
crying
that
as we
she's
speak.
walking on the ground. She's floating across the sort of
Of course, yes.
thin layer of fog that somehow.
No,
fuck that song. I don't want that shit. I don't like that. I don't like that song. There's so many classic.
Pasha Bell. That's the classic.
Pachelbel's.
Am I saying it wrong?
No. Well, I don't know.
I don't know.
But then there's other ones. There's other ones that people play as the first song as the woman is coming down for the wedding. I don't want to do the traditional wedding song.
Mm. Okay.
Dun 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 dun.
Oh, that too.
Dun
yeah.
dun dun dun.
That's
I don't
bridal chorus Wagner.
Yeah, I don't want that shit. And then another one that people do a lot is you hear a lot of that Coldplay song now. Clocks? No. No, the one that's like I
Oh.
used to rule the world.
Oh,
Viva La Vida.
Viva La Vida, which is a great song. But I don't think that that's the one I want either. I don't know what her entrance theme is going to be. It'd be cool if it were the Stone Cold glass shattering WWE entrance theme. Or the Undertaker, just the deep gong, dong, and then the eerie organ music. Well, anyway, so she's coming in. We all rise up. That's when you cry.
Well, that's the first.
That's the first.
inception of the tears, and then once the gates are open,
The gates are open.
Maybe you should give Chris a job to avoid this for him. Maybe he can be the ring bearer.
well, what if I just cry doing that? I don't want to.
He might cry doing that too.
I love that Chris
Having
is
Chris
gonna
with
cry.
a little pillow, holding it beneath. I really like that image. Walking forward with the pillow.
Mhm.
That could be fun.
Did you cry when I proposed to her?
No, that was different
'Cause
because
you
I was
were-
taking photos.
You had a
and
job
stuff.
to do.
He was.
I had something else to
preoccupied.
Keeps his
focus
eye
on.
on the ball, which is confirmation of what you just said. That if he had a little
You know,
little side
give
gig
him
there,
a task.
Also, I'm gonna cry extra because I took photos. I was the only one to see you propose.
That's right.
No one else saw
Sure.
that.
Kojai was there, but
Yeah, but he's a.
He's a
he-
dog.
He just doesn't know what's going on.
He doesn't really know what happened there.
Stupid animal. Ryan, are you gonna cry?
I tear up a little bit at weddings. I might cry a little bit.
Ah.
I'm very excited to see the invisible line between the two of you get smaller and smaller.
Oh my
as
God.
She's approaching the altar. That's going to be beautiful.
What a
And I'm excited for the speeches.
Look at these-
poetic.
Look at this deep team we have. Dude.
Yeah,
The depths of
that's
these young
really
men.
fun. Okay, so then, do you guys think I'm gonna cry?
I feel like probably not.
I don't think I am for some reason.
I
I
don't
feel
see
like you might have one single tear.
I don't cry about things from my life or within my life. I only cry about things from other people's lives. I only get emotional really over sad movies or things that I see.
Mm.
You know,
Mhm.
I don't know why.
But maybe that
Well,
is
we'll
the
see,
moment
dude.
that your
Yeah.
two lives combine into one. And
The
Yeah.
lives of
caring
others
about
and the
her
lives
My
of you.
fear is that if I were to start crying, it would be 13 years of backed up emotions that have been suppressed,
Mhm.
bursting forth in an irrecoverable moment, to the degree that I would have to leave for a bit. And then what?
Jump in the
What
lake
does
and
everyone
come back.
do while I'm getting my shit together?
They'd be like, "We knew it."
And they'd be like, Julio, get up there and tell some fucking jokes.
Hey, all right. How you guys doing?
Imagine if Sierra had to sort of like hold me upright and rub my back,
I know.
give me a beach towel.
I know.
So that would be embarrassing.
That'd be cute.
No, it'd be embarrassing.
It would be nice.
I'd
I
look
think.
all puffy and mucusy, weeping into her very nice wedding dress.
She's never gonna wear it again anyway.
Yeah, use her veil as a napkin. I don't know if she has a veil. Anyway, so yeah,
Okay, so anyway, the point is, I felt as if me not calling you back would.
Oh, that's what we were talking
yeah.
about.
Was a potential mood dampener. Like here you were being like, I'm just gonna call Julio, see what he's up to, and I don't answer. And then you're like, ah, man, he just saw my call and was like, and didn't answer.
This is so funny.
And I don't want you to feel that way.
Never.
I like answering your calls.
Never have I ever felt that way. I called you because I was extremely drunk. And a lot of the time when I'm really, really drunk, I will call you as you are the lighthouse on the shore of the seasick inducing boat. You can keep me.
I'm your North Star.
Yeah, I'm like, hi, dude.
Baby.
And by the way, more often than not, when I call you shit-faced, you're shit-faced.
Hey.
And we can kind of
That
just bond
is
over that.
funny.
What are you drinking? A couple Negronskis. Okay, blah, blah, blah. Sounds good. Like, anything else to report? Nope. Bye. That's it. That's the conversation, and it's really pleasant. I was so drunk. I was very disoriented. I was also exhausted.
Yeah.
So I was fading kind of in and out, head lolling around the back of this Uber. It was an hour and a half Uber back
Ooh.
from this golf course we were playing at all day. And I was so tired. And Sierra was having her bridal shower, which apparently is this thing that women do where they all get together and lay the bride-to-be on the ground over a tarp and pee on her. Not sure. I think it has Greek origins, perhaps a Mediterranean derivation.
Peeing in the pot.
Yeah, they shower her with love.
Shower her with pee.
And everyone gets to take a turn until the wells have rung dry. And then they all go out to dinner or something.
So what is the protocol for that? Like I had asked you if you had been booted and you clarified that you had chosen to leave.
I thought I was being kind by removing myself. I thought they wouldn't want me around.
I don't think customarily, I don't think you're supposed to be there for that, right? Am I wrong?
I'm told
Maybe
it's
you show up
sort of
later?
yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Maybe there's a thing at the end where the guy comes back and, oh, here he is. And then
I have a
do
distinct image of what that moment looks like.
they do some games, something about
Yeah.
holding up a shoe, voting on stuff.
Nice.
I don't know,
The
man.
delegation.
All these things.
You just show up in your cool sunglasses and like your little outfit
Yeah.
that is meant to look casual, but was very planned.
Right.
What's up, guys? Shaking the wrist as the best watch you have slides a couple centimeters lower to your comfort level.
Yeah.
And maybe a little hat.
Let me ask you a quick question. Have you seen the movie Gladiator recently?
I think I remember it fairly well.
You know when Emperor Commodus, played by Joaquin Phoenix,
What about him?
when he is trying to incite Maximus to violence, the first time that he realizes that Maximus has survived the attempt on his life, which Commodus orchestrated,
Mhm.
he goes into the ring after
I do
his first
remember.
victory. Maximus removes his helmet, says, "I am Maximus Decimus Meridius,
Commander of the armies of the North.
father to a murdered wife, or murdered son,
Husband to a murdered wife.
and I shall have my vengeance this life, the next."
Yes.
And Commodus starts saying, like, your wife squealed, blah, 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 like a whore
yeah.
as they ravaged her again and again. And Maximus keeps his cool and says, well, before I say what he says, back to Sierra's bridal shower. She has now had, there was I guess we had technically we kind of had an engagement party, and then she had a bachelorette party, and then this bridal shower. There's going to be a bridal brunch or lunch, bridal dinner. It's called the bridal dinner, right? Then the wedding.
The bridal dinner is different from the...
That's the rehearsal dinner, but it's called the
Oh.
bridal dinner.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And I can't wait to look at her once we are towards the end of our wedding evening and say to her what Maximus said to Commodus, which is, the time for honoring yourself will soon be at an end. When is it enough? How many times do you need to gather your friends and have them pee on you as a celebration of your pending nuptials? It's just, at what point will women have had, will they be satisfied? Will they be satisfied? No, I'm totally kidding. She deserves it, you know. I brought this up to a friend of hers, and I said, you know, don't you guys get a little tired of like, whatever, 4 gathered events before the wedding or whatever the hell it is? And she goes, well, you know, we all did it for each other, and so you know you're gonna have it for yourself, and therefore it's just a total. You look forward to it once it's your turn because we do it for each other.
So, dude, so it's funny you mentioned that. This is an interesting concept that I hadn't really thought of. Somebody who we know was married, whatever, and I think that he got married later, like after his friends had already gotten married. And he made an interesting point about how if people get married earlier than the rest of the pack, it's interesting to see like who then they have kids now, so they forget the gift, or they kind of go stingy on the gift, or they kind of start making budget cuts where you did not. And that has to be a tough pill to swallow.
I think
it has nothing to do with what you just said, but it reminded me of that.
I think that's a great point. You get the wedding sort of fatigue just by being later in life and all of that. And let me tell you a tip that I've ascertained for myself, which I think could be really helpful. As you are advising the band or the DJ that you've hired to play music at your wedding, we put down a specific list of songs they should not play.
Oh, okay.
Which are just songs that have been beaten to absolute death.
What is on the list? Is one of them, Do You Remember?
Yeah. September is on there. Certainly Shout is on there. We don't want to hear Uptown Funk anymore from Bruno Mars. We don't want to hear
dude, by this point the band's gonna look at the restricted list and they're just gonna start singing the national anthem or something. There's gonna be no more songs.
The band gave us a library to choose from,
That's
and they
fine.
had probably, I don't know, fucking 300 songs
Like a
on there.
karaoke machine, bro.
Yeah. And it's like
Fucking
there were
mad.
so many songs on there. You know, another one we don't want to hear is like, oh, don't you dare look back. Just put your eyes on me. I hold them back. Shut up and dance. That one gets played all the time at weddings. I don't want to hear that. There's so many songs that you just hear at so many weddings. I don't want to hear Mr. Brightside by the Killers again.
How's that go again?
Coming out of my cage.
Oh, no, but you were just fun.
Yeah.
Na, na, na,
Sort of like
na,
the
na.
white people wedding anthem.
Okay.
You know, sick of that shit. So we have really been selective in the songs that we've chosen, and it's
It was
going to
only
be
a kiss.
Yeah.
Right? Is that jealousy?
How
Is
many
that-
times can you jump around with you at a wedding and sing every word to that song?
What about that song? Jump around. Is that overplayed? Jump
No.
up, jump up.
I
And
don't
get
know that
down.
I've ever seen a wedding band
jump,
play that.
Jump.
House of Pain? Jump around.
I'll serve your house like John McEnroe.
I think we're gonna do like a bunch of Prince. Not a bunch, but some Prince, some 70s stuff, some sort of more dancey type things that should be played and cool. Like,
Will you perform a song at your own wedding?
No, dude, that's hard.
Would you ever?
It'd be one thing to like. It'd be hard enough. I mean, I might say a small speech or something, thank everyone. I don't want to play a song, man. I'd be nervous. I don't want to be fucking. I don't want to feel like I have to perform.
I feel you.
I want to, for one night, be off the hook
This is your night.
of having to, you know, nail something.
Yeah. Well,
I'm gonna have
dude,
to
I don't
nail
know if-
everything
yeah,
else.
You're not totally off the table and
Yeah,
having
I
to
know.
nail something.
Yeah, but you know,
You might have to nail one person.
well,
you know.
we already kind of agreed. Like, let's just see if we can get that out of the way morning of the wedding, because you know, I don't want to be thinking like, oh boy, I hope I have enough energy left to consummate the marriage at the end of the night.
You gave one of those samurai pills.
We're gonna be exhausted. by end of night.
And you're flying
Saturday.
out Sunday night?
Yeah.
Excellent.
People have asked me,
Excelente.
what's the part of the wedding you're looking most forward to? It's the flight.
The flight out of there?
It's the flight to Kenya.
Sweet. Man. Very
I'm
sweet.
I'm kidding. That's not true. But
Lots of fun stuff in
So
a short
yeah.
period of time.
I don't know, man. Me nailing the wedding, it's like make sure to trim my nose hairs
Mm-hmm.
and pick up my suit.
Mm-hmm.
This kind of shit.
Yeah, dude. I love shit like that because it's just so easy to do. Like, it's annoying, but like, it's easy to like complete the task. Completable tasks that don't require a ton of creativity. It's amazing.
Totally.
If being an assistant paid better, I would definitely be an assistant. I'd be open to it. On the phone with fucking your insurance.
Oh,
Don't give a shit.
really?
Yeah, dude.
You can stomach all of that?
Oh yeah, big time.
Wow.
I actually enjoy it. Easy, mindless tasks that just require time.
But
And
so
now-
often those tasks do not, they don't go smoothly.
True, but like, well, in what way though? Like, okay, with the insurance stuff, like maybe there's a chance that the call drops, or you have to keep calling until you get somebody who can like do what you want them to do, type of thing. But it's a completable task.
I often
usually.
find that there's a strong disconnect between what one person says and then the next department that
Same,
they patch
dude.
you through
Same,
to,
same. It's a fucking annoying.
which drives me crazy.
Yeah. So I don't know.
The time for honoring yourself will soon be at an end.
Are you fully immunized?
Not yet.
Which one are you waiting on?
They fucked it up again.
Are you serious?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god, dude.
Mm-hmm.
Jesus.
Went to my physical. They did not have the yellow fever vaccine there.
We knew that part, but then weren't you going to the
No,
place that had
that
it?
I went to. Okay.
Oh, you got the physical.
So they didn't
too.
have Mount Sinai Health, and I have no problem dropping names because fuck this place. Mount Sinai Health was the people that I called because my primary care physician works under their, banner, and I had called their fucking teledispatcher person, who told me that I could get all of the travel vaccinations that I needed, every single one of them, if I went to their travel vaccine place near
Center.
Union Square. I went there. They did not have yellow fever. So I got the other ones. I scheduled another appointment for the next day to go get the yellow fever somewhere else. But then I had a physical. I did a physical on last Thursday.
Okay.
When was the last time you did a physical?
I do them manually.
Do you really?
Yeah. Like pretty much like clockwork.
Good for you.
Thanks.
Mine had been 2018.
I remember, we talked about how you figured I'm healthy. I don't need one, which I think is totally fine. But we're approaching the age where I actually don't think we're there yet. We're approaching the age where, no matter how healthy we're being, we still need to have shit shoved up our ass and down our throat.
But
and-
dude, this is
Yeah.
interesting. This guy told me that they no longer really use the rectal exam for prostate exams.
Oh, really? How do they do it now?
I think it might be a blood test now or something. Because when you do the fingers, they've determined that it only can show you sort of the outside of the prostate or something.
Interesting.
It doesn't reveal a lot. It's a very surface level exam.
Interesting.
And so they've kind of phased it out.
That's cool.
And I was thrilled to hear that. I
Have
never
you
had
had
to
it?
experience
I've never
that,
had it yet.
Nor had I. He thinks that I need to start really looking at prostate stuff when I turn 40.
40, right?
Yeah. But for now, that was a huge win. And he said that there are
you have a cholesterol thing though, right?
yeah,
But is congenital the word? No, it's hereditary.
hereditary. I did do a slate of labs.
It's really nice when
Blood
you get those
tests.
back and you're like fine.
Well, everything was fine except for that lipoprotein A.
My thing that-
cholesterol was high.
The thing that I have is that I have a slightly lower white blood cell count, but it's still barely within the spectrum of what's normal, but just towards the lower end, and it kind of like bums me out. That I'm just like I have like a fucking slightly pussy immune system.
What can you do?
I
Is
don't
there
actually-
anything you can do?
I don't know.
Could
But
you
they said it-
slowly start introducing minor infections to your life to try to Rally the army?
No, interesting. You say that. I don't know if I've ever asked that. I think that as I had begun to ask that, the last doctor was like, "You're good though, dude. You're within the healthy range."
I think for you, something as simple as when you go to the market and you see various, buckets of blueberries, buy the one that looks a little past the due date.
And eat the gross.
Just start trying, just next time you get a cut, instead of cleaning it and then putting a Band-Aid on it, I don't know,
Rub it on someone's
rub
face.
some peanut butter on there, do something. Do
See if I can
something
fight
just
off
to
infections.
give yourself it's like telling your immune system to do a little berries boot camp.
Okay,
That's what that is.
Solid. Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
Um,
Well, I did the physical, and he didn't. Not only did he not do the rectal thing, but he also didn't look at my penis.
oh, you didn't?
No,
That's nice. Like grab
And-
your balls.
he didn't do any of that. And I was kind of worried. I kind of wanted him to.
You want him to do the hernia check?
I don't know, just some kind of full car wash.
You're gonna go ahead and drop your pants real quick.
Yeah, well, what they always do? They always tell you to put your shirt back on before they tell you to take your pants off.
Interesting.
Something about not being totally
Completely
naked.
Mm-hmm. I like when they don't make me get into a little fucking smock. I'm back at like a normal doctor that like feels. The one I was at before just was like treated me like a fucking lab rat. I felt like they like make me get put on that stupid like forward facing cape
Mm-hmm.
that like closes in the back. I'm like, bro, what am I getting surgery here?
Yeah, that's overkill.
But
But I did the blood test, and the nurse that was administering the blood test laughed at me when I looked away.
you don't like the pinch?
I don't like watching the blood fill the tube. I don't like watching needles go in.
Doesn't
I
bother
don't have
me.
a problem with the pain, but watching it, I can do without.
I'm trying to think. I mean, the dentist for me, man, is the thing that really gets me. That doesn't bother me at all. I like watching the thing fill up.
Oh, I don't like it.
Vaccines don't bother me. But yeah, dentists really.
As soon as they unwrap the alcohol wipe and they wipe it and that smell hits you and you know, okay, the next thing is that they're going to pull out some light green capped syringe. They're going to pop that thing off, and then there's going to be a needle, and you're going to see the needle. I don't want to see the needle. I sort of just turned my head, and she sort of scoffed at me.
Wait, but this is for the vaccine or for when they took blood?
They took blood.
Okay, but they're different.
But the
Those are
vaccines,
different.
I was looking away too.
Vaccines, I don't like seeing the needle because sometimes it's really long, and I'm just like, damn, that's gonna go way into me, dude. Which sucks. But this thing, I don't mind looking at, but I hear you. I hear you.
She, one thing I do care about though is that I take pride in how prominent my veins are.
Oh yeah.
I say to myself, I almost want them to say, "Oh yeah, nice veins."
They don't even ask you to make a fist. Okay,
No,
you're
no,
good.
they didn't even ask me to make a fist this time.
That's nice.
And now I have a little sort of PTSD about this because when I was in 7th grade, I had a septic ankle joint, which I've told you about, blood poisoning, the staph infection.
Oh yeah.
And I became so sick from it that my veins really shrank, and
Ugh.
I had to do so many blood tests. And very often the nurses would miss the vein.
Oh god.
And they just probe around in there, just trying to.
And you end up with a big bruise.
A huge bruise, but also just it's really, really painful. And I was a little boy.
Dude,
Not
I always.
well.
Sorry, what was the last part of that?
Well, the end is that now I don't want, even though I like take pride in how big my veins are, I don't want the nurse to get cocky.
Yeah,
and
I
thinking,
always
"Oh,
try to
this is so-"
profile my nurse, and it never works. Like I can never tell who's going to do it good and who isn't.
Right.
I'm like, based on the way she looks, and then it ends up being like the best one. No,
Really?
No bruise, no like blood leftovers.
Mm.
Doesn't even hurt. And there is a wide range, and you can never really tell. I found.
A big part of it too is placing, they put the little square of gauze and then they put a Band-Aid over that. And the question is, are they careful enough to try to lay the Band-Aid down on the least hairy part of your arm?
Interesting.
Because many are not. And the second that shit goes down, you just know pulling this off is going to suck. Why weren't you a better person?
Is there a way for you that makes it less? Because for me, like there's no hair really on that area.
For
Right.
me, it's that they lay
Yeah.
it here. If they go like
right.
that, it's
Interesting,
fine. But if they
interesting.
go that way, that's hair right there.
Interesting.
All that.
I've never had the diagonal. They always just do it straight across for me. Here's the question. How long do you typically leave that Band-Aid with the gauze strip on?
I like people to know that I've been in the trenches.
So you leave it on for a
I
bit?
want at least a couple of people to say, what happened to you? And then I can say, oh, I gave blood.
I got my annual checkup.
It's a little white lie, a little white blood cell lie. I gave blood, not I had blood taken. To check my cholesterol levels. Yeah, I gave blood. No, I don't actually lie about it. But I like people. We've talked about this. Band-Aids, bandages.
We have?
It's manly.
Oh, yeah, yes. It can be.
It's
Depends.
cool. It's cool to have a
Dude,
wound.
I don't know. The gauze with the little Band-Aid is not super manly.
Everybody knows what's going on there.
I know, but it's like a little ball of gauze and a little Band-Aid. I don't know, dude.
One time when I was in middle school, I used to I took recess very seriously. Because I needed it. I needed it so badly.
You're like a husky.
I would go out there and I would run around.
You need to run around.
I needed to run
You're
around
gonna eat the couch when you get home.
so badly. And one year for my Christmas present, my mom got me a small first aid kit to bring to school because I was getting injured so often, running into things, cutting myself, skinning my knees, a lot of skinned knees and elbows. That I needed to have that. But then one day I remember we were out at recess. I don't remember exactly what happened. This must have been 4th grade. And I really skinned my knee. And so when I came in, I had been taught how to sort of, wipe the knee and clean it a little. And I put I put a big thing of gauze and then sort of tape around it, effectively dressing the wound with at least 400% of the dressing that I needed. I really overdid it.
You overdid it.
And my teacher came up to me and pulled me aside and said, "Listen, Francis, it might be in your best interest to not use such large bandages because you're creating quite a stir."
What stir?
Well, all the kids would come up and say, "Oh my God, what happened
You're
to
like,
you?"
dude, you don't want to know.
And then it would ripple through the school. "Oh, Francis really hurt himself on the slide at recess. Stay away from that slide. I haven't sanded it in a while."
Was there rabies in Maine?
I'm sure there were.
Like, did you guys get seminars about like being aware of unusually friendly raccoons and to stay away from them or something? Dude, we used to hear about that all the time.
I think it was we had more conversations about ticks
Okay, we had that too.
and Lyme disease than we did friendly raccoons.
Dude, I know like so much more about Lyme disease than like the average person that I encounter. So shout out to my school for like really teaching us about it. I think or either my school or my mom or both like were really, that could have been it. Maybe my parents are from the city and we moved to the country and like no one else's parents cared about ticks, but mine did. So like I'd come home and I'd get like strip searched and like they'd look at my hair and every fold of my hair because apparently the deer tick is the one that has it and they're tiny and all that shit. And then like everybody I encounter here doesn't know shit about ticks.
I don't know a whole lot about Lyme disease, and I don't think a lot of people do.
I don't think I do either.
Isn't there no cure for it?
I don't think so.
And it has such a
And you can't
wide
really
range
test
of
for it.
symptoms.
You also can't really test positive.
And it can
or negative
ruin
for it.
people's lives for years.
Yeah, and it like will come back and be dormant and come back.
Yeah.
And it turns into a whole thing.
But
you know?
dude, speaking of seminars and talks, man, that made me think about the school I went to, the middle school. The first time that the teachers had to sort of do the first sex ed conversation. And I remember for the first time learning that, well, actually, I think it was the girls on the school bus that taught us that the vagina had more than one hole.
Ah.
That there was a hole for peeing and then there was a hole for birthing.
Mm-hmm.
And that I didn't believe them. I just said, no, that you're wrong. I think I remember telling the girls that were telling me this, you're mistaken.
Really?
It was so mind bending to me that the vagina was not just one all encompassing hole.
Yeah, but like, why? It doesn't. That seems like such an odd thing to take issue with. Like, why not? Like, there's a door to the house That doesn't mean there aren't more doors within the house because there's one main door. You know?
I just thought
To me,
that
I'm like, oh, there's more holes in there. Right?
You know, first of all, whatever diagrams I'd seen, I don't know. I think I just thought it all tumbled out of there. Everything, it was like one chasm, one corridor,
one multi-purpose area.
Yeah, exactly. So that was interesting.
Big revelation.
And then the concept of them trying to teach us at what I would say might have been too early in age, but girls having their period, because it's tough because you have to almost sync that up with whichever girl has her first period, right? And girls start puberty at totally different ages.
Totally.
And it's possible that there's a girl in the class or a few girls that are starting to have their periods. It's time we sit everybody down and explain what this is. And I was 4th or 5th grade, maybe.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? What is this?
Yeah.
I was, as my stupid, tiny little boy brain could not fathom that all of a sudden the girls were just going to be bleeding once a month. What was I supposed to do? And that in that same conversation, another one of the teachers had to bring up that there was some kid who was pooping in the urinals. Did I tell you about that?
In the same thing?
Yeah, it was like we had this sort of sex ed conversation, and then since it was just like, oh, this is sensitive topic time. By the way, everybody, it has come to our attention that there's a student using the boys' bathrooms who is defecating in the urinals.
And this is not an indication of puberty.
No. And we all looked at each other and we were like, what does defecating mean?
Do not.
What does that mean? And first of all, what a funny concept that somebody was finding a way to secretly go in there and shit in the urinals, or was so mistaken by the application of the urinal as to think that that was just a very shallow toilet.
No, dude, that has vandalism right now.
You think?
Yes, nobody's that dumb, dude. You've been using the urinals for so many years
We were
already.
at such a young age,
I know,
though.
but by 5th grade, you've now been introduced to the urinal for like 5 years. Suddenly, you're like, oh, man, this thing could have new meaning.
I don't know. I think maybe they thought it was sort of the drive-through of the toilet. This is the speedy.
The one European student
Yes.
who didn't know any better
Yes,
yet.
that's right.
I thought it was the bidet.
Yeah. So all of that came at once, and it caused quite a stir, caused quite a commotion, because it was a lot for our brains to handle.
When we first got, I remember 5th grade was the first time we had the little like side lesson from our same teacher. There wasn't like did you have any did the language teacher have their own classroom at your school? We've talked about this before, but I forget.
I think a
Or did they
lot
have-
of our classrooms were multi-purpose, but for the most part, the main classes you had, that's where you went.
Okay, so even elementary school where you were with the same person, and then once we got up to an age where we maybe bounced around a little bit, the Spanish teacher still didn't have his own room. He just had a little cart.
What?
He had a little cart.
A cart?
Yeah, and he'd show up.
Was he like making tortillas on the side or something?
Dude, his whole class room was in this little cart. So he'd
What
show
do you
up.
mean a cart?
He had a little mobile station. Oh, he's here. Senor Arias is here.
And you'd all gather around?
No, he would just come and teach and administer the class, but he would go from room to room with his little cart.
What was in the cart?
The different learning materials, books, lessons.
Wow.
We would learn songs.
Budget cuts hit the old Spanish
I know,
department
I know.
extra hard.
So anyway, there was that. But anyway, so the first sex lesson was administered by the actual homeroom teacher, and he gave us like 20 minutes to laugh. He goes, all right, look at this, get it out of your system. And I recall like the laughing period being over, but I was nowhere near done with the laughter needed for the penis and vagina models and all the talk that was coming. I think that's all I remember. But that is interesting you mentioned that, like with the young puberty age thing. Like I remember our gym teacher suggesting deodorant when we were like 10.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I probably didn't need deodorant until I was like 15, probably.
Really?
Yeah, dude. I was a little bit of a late bloomer. Not like super late bloomer, but like toward the back end of the spectrum of puberty. So like I didn't have armpit hair till like high school. So
Deodorant wasn't scary for me, but razors were I was embarrassed.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah, same. I remember
The
having
concept
like,
of having to
Dad,
start shaving my face was embarrassing.
No.
Do you remember the first time you realized you might need to start using deodorant, getting BO or anything
No,
like
because
that?
it's such a gradual. You're so enveloped by your own smell that it's just with you all the time.
I don't remember specifically,
And
but
it
I
cr-
think I got ahead of it.
You
hopefully.
don't. Each day it gets 0.01% worse. Your whole life until all of a sudden, you run into someone who's not met you before and says that guy smells like garbage.
No, until all of a sudden you're on the eve of your wedding and your hormones have shifted.
Oh yeah. By the way, things have settled down.
You're smelling all right?
Yeah.
Attaboy.
It's that's
a
a
bit
huge
cooler too.
huge win. A little cooler, but I really think it's stress. I really think my stress has subsided. Definitely helped to get super fucked up this weekend. Just
Dude,
like drank my way out of it a little bit.
it's really sad that I have such a good relationship with alcohol in that way too.
Yeah.
Where I'm like stressed about something and then I'm like, should I do this? Should I do that? And then I'll like I'll have a couple. I'll be like, dude,
Yeah.
it's all good.
Nothing.
And I
that
stand by that. And then I hold that with me the next day. I'm like, I was right.
Yeah. Yeah, you can make really good resolutions when you're drunk. You can make really bad ones too. But I do believe in the sort of I think it's the Far East policy that many will not conduct any sort of business dealings until someone's had
a couple Cockersons.
at least a few drinks,
a
because
couple Lago di Comoses in them.
yeah, they believe that people are not honest and are not their true selves. You can't hold on to some sort of false front
Right.
if you've had a few drinks.
It's harder. Speaking of the Far East, that Chris had recommended this movie to me, Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Oh yeah.
It's about Chinese family, and then it becomes this whole thing. What I did not realize, have you seen it?
We watched the first 20 minutes. We loved it. We were falling asleep because we were so tired, but we very much intended to keep watching and we just haven't.
I enjoyed it.
But we will. Everyone's raving about this movie.
So, dude, what I did not realize, the main like sort of male actor in the movie is fucking Short Round from Indiana Jones. And this is the only role he's had since he played.
Come on.
I swear. Isn't that crazy?
That's amazing.
I believe Short Round was his last role. And his voice is very similar. And bro, the guy fucking acts the hell out of this role.
Wow.
I guess he's still been in Hollywood, like doing stunts or something and like a variety of other things. That was the lowdown that I got from the person who told me. But anyway, for anybody who loved Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, that big group of people out there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
Interesting. That's really interesting.
I want to go back to childhood stuff. Okay, I was thinking
sure.
about being a child, being bored, and filling your time. Very, very seldom do I find myself as an adult being that bored, where I'm like, man, I'm bored. And as a kid, it happens to you all the time. And I'm trying to understand more. Is it just because you don't have any rights or freedom? Like you don't have any money, so you can't like do much. So I'm thinking about the shit we used to do at recess over and over and over again. And it was just so stupid. Like we'd spin the tire swing around and see who could like handle the inertia and not get nauseous. Just like when one guy was really good at, all right, like that was one thing we did. The other one, there was like this, there were sort of like on this little bridge that led you to the main play area. There was wood chips below. There was a bar that you could kind of hold on to. And below that bar was a bar. Below that bar was a bar, like a metal bar. You know what I mean? I'm trying to think you know what I'm talking about.
I think I know what you're talking about.
Okay. Like railings.
Sure.
What we would do is we'd stand against the railing when we'd hold it with two hands and propel ourselves over the railing with both hands without using any momentum and leap over it and land on the wood chips and do it over and over and over again for like an hour.
Wow.
So stupid.
Well,
how was that so
It's
fun
just-
for us?
It's just activities, man. You know, it sucks. It sucks in a way that now it does take so much more for us to consider something fun.
Yeah, but I wonder, did we actually think that was that fun or we just had nothing else to do because we were being controlled?
I think at that age, we'd never experienced the joy of drinking 7 Negronis. We'd never experienced the joy of, betting on a Sunday football game, of, hooking up with someone for the first time, like all of these things, which
Right.
kind of blow, ripping a bong, whatever, like
Right.
blow
Much better than
jumping
leaping
on
over
the
a
wood
rail.
chips
Yeah.
out of the water. So it's all relative. I mean, if we were monks, let's say we'd grown up in a monastery, right?
It would be nice.
With a very austere life.
Needing nothing.
And then one day the monastery burns down. The head guy is discovered for being like a major insider trading ring or something. And the whole thing just dissolves. And we're let out into the world. And the first thing we're doing as we're walking down the road to our new life.
Wait, okay, but bro, what if our monastery is like in the middle of the jungle? Like, how are we getting out
Well,
of the
let's
jungle?
say it's not in the middle of the jungle, but it's just at the top of a hill that stands over a town.
I don't think, I feel like most monasteries are fairly secluded. Okay, fine. We will eventually encounter a town.
You can definitely have some monasteries that are closer to population centers, for sure. There are monasteries in Tibet,
Tibet is very secluded, bro.
Nepal,
I know, but I don't.
Kathmandu.
They're just in the middle of the city. Monastery.
Well, they might be overlooking the
They
city.
probably
I feel
are.
like
Okay,
they-
okay,
people look up at them and they say, "Oh, look, there's the monastery." But it's a 20-minute walk.
There was one right next to my high school.
There you
A
go.
monastery?
Yeah, we called
Okay.
it Monk Nation.
There you go.
Monk
And
Nation?
we'd run
Yeah.
by Monk Nation.
Okay. So
They're
you
not
live in a
all-
suburban area?
I think you're thinking of Batman.
No, dude, I'm not. Like, I was where I am from this past weekend. We'll talk maybe more about this in the next episode. But we went to this area where there's this ghost town. And I realized that there's all these secluded religious retreats stuff. Like, there's a place for people who want to become priests. My dad encountered this group of young men and went over to talk to them, which was pretty funny.
Oh, nice.
And he learned that they were all becoming priests.
Franciscan monks?
Maybe. Perhaps.
The order of the yeah.
It's probably, well, they weren't like, I don't know if they were monks or not, but like they just were going to be priests. Is that
Interesting.
the same thing?
Well, I think there's all kinds of different monks. I think there's different types of religions have different monks,
Okay.
right? Because there's the friars or the Franciscans, which I think is a branch of Catholicism or Christianity.
Okay.
But then there's monks within the Buddhist faith, Hinduism.
Right. Yeah. No, I know about those. Which, by the way, that's the best Chef's Table episode. John Kwan, about this monk
Cool.
who's like the best cook. It's a really good one.
Yeah.
Season 3, I believe.
But right, I mean, my point is, we're monks. Monastery burns down because the chef leaves the food going too long. It turns out he was also involved in insider trading. So we are all disgraced.
Very unmonkly.
And we're so ashamed that we have no thought of going to find another monastery and hop in. We're just done. We're walking down the road, right?
What is this comparison again? I'm sorry. I've lost.
Well,
what are you comparing this to?
We're saying that why did we find landing on the wood chips so fun? It was because we'd never experienced
okay.
anything more fun that up to that point.
Okay, but to be a monk, don't you seek that life out, or are you born into that life? As a monk, you're like, I want to have a simpler life and follow this new thing.
Yes, but I don't know that every monk who goes into that life has had a life full of, Formula One races and
Okay, I see what
roller
you're saying.
derbies and
Fun activities.
huffing paint, stealing yachts, whatever, up to that
Okay,
point.
okay.
So we are those guys. We're walking down the hill from our
Monks.
monastery. By the way, you really don't like this story, do you?
I don't dislike it. I'm wondering.
You don't like this life for us.
I don't dislike it necessarily. I was thinking actually, who would be better at it? I feel like ultimately you would end up like really leaning into the monk lifestyle.
I think we have no choice. We're so bored that we just have to find fun in any way we can.
Well, dude, they offer these like retreats. I met this guy who did it, where like you can go away for like 3 or 4 days and you're not allowed to speak once to anybody.
Yes. Yeah.
Would you
Silence.
do that? I feel like you'd enjoy it.
Yeah, I would. Do you do them alone?
No, there's others around. Sometimes you're not allowed to. Imagine we're not allowed to talk to each other, dude. That's ridiculous. I'm
Yeah,
just
but
looking at you
that's the
I'm
kind of
like,
thing where I'd fart as loud as possible and look around to see if I could make you guys laugh. Things like that. It's not technically breaking my no speaking vow.
True.
And then if you guys laugh, you have lost.
I might laugh, but it is funny. Now I'm understanding the connection to childhood because that would have been quite funny
Yeah.
in 4th grade.
So we're walking down the hill from our burned down insider trading chef's table monastery. And we notice off to our left, let's call it a John James Audubon Society, bird watching,
Ah,
right? And we say, what's that? What are they doing in there? What are those devices that are holding up to their eyes with a cord around their neck? Huh, never seen that before. Never read about that in the pages of our holy texts. So we wander in, and someone hands us a pair of binoculars, and we look. He points up into the tree, and we look up, and there's a speckled warblock, rare, Calphanasis aspinascius, Latin name. There's only 750 in the world, and it's so rare to see one this far east. And we just watch that bird for hours as it preens, cleans its feet, hops from one branch to the next. We walk out of there, you and I look at each other and we say that was the best day of our lives. That's the most fun we've ever had. My God, we are going to have to come back here every single day. We are now bird watchers because that sensation, that experience is so new and novel to us.
interesting.
As compared to our very austere life that we've led to that point, that's the most exciting thing. But then, on our way out of the bird watching place, we see a McDonald's and we go in there and we have a Happy Meal. That's the next best thing. It's like, that's what it is.
Okay. Fine with that. I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool.
I think that works.
Nice.
Am I wrong? That works. I don't know that we needed all of that.
I still wonder
I'm not sure
if
we needed that.
I wonder if though, and granted you're a kid, so like you can't possibly have control yet. But like if you like having control of your destiny is what allows us to do more things. As a kid, you're just not allowed yet for whatever reason. You're, I guess you're not ready yet. You're not developed yet. You're not ready to like lose your innocence. You're not able to be responsible enough to deal with all this shit based on our culture, whatever. So you don't have the option to have more shit to do unless your parents allow you to.
No, but I think it's all relative.
To what?
Meaning, okay, if you don't have more shit to do, then you pull out the puzzle that you've done 400 times, and that's fun for you.
Yeah, but because you don't have your own money, you can't drive to get more stuff to do.
Right.
So
you make do with what you've got.
Exactly.
You have imaginary friends. You go out into the woods. You run around being chased by a tribe of people.
You beat Sonic 2 again.
See, but that's fun.
Agreed. But
You're talking. I didn't have video games.
ever?
I got my first PlayStation, I think, late in life, and I was extremely limited as to the amount of time that I could spend playing it.
Okay.
And I remember reading books, going into the woods, climbing trees, made a lot of forts.
We made forts. I never.
Made forts.
I tended to sort of delegate. I didn't do the actual building. Of the fort.
Wow, good for you.
Charlie and Lee were more.
You got other people to do the fort building?
Yeah, I did. And
How'd
then
you convince them? That
I just, they were better than me at it. They were handier.
classic.
And then my brother, in order to join the group, we sort of made him do initiation rituals, and he's the only person who ever had to do them. I feel kind of guilty about that.
Sounds
now.
like you
They
were
weren't that bad, though.
psychologically manipulative at a very young age.
No. My brother wanted to join the whatever it was, and we just made up a few things that he would have to do in order to join.
Huh.
We had our own little song, but we also spent time in the woods.
Yeah.
And it was fun.
I remember being in the woods, my friend and I, Jeff, and he was real. We developed what we called the hacking club,
What was that?
where we would go into the woods and we would find a piece of wood that was really sharp, and then we would use that piece of wood to knock down other pieces of wood.
Oh, wow. That's fun.
Dead trees, we would hack down trees
That's fun.
and we would just pound at them until we could push them over, at which point we would yell, timber!
Nice.
And then
Very
get out of the way,
nice.
run, watch them come
Very
crashing down,
nice.
big pile of dust.
Did you ever have the if a tree falls in the woods and no one saw it conversation?
No, I wasn't aware of such a Zen idealistic thought
Mm-hmm.
as that at that age.
Mm-hmm.
I was reading Harry Potter,
Very nice. Very
not
nice.
Dante's Inferno or wherever the fuck that's in. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember we'd have like family friends from like the city come up, like from Brooklyn or whatever, and they'd be like afraid to go in the woods. They'd be like, I don't want to go in there. And we'd be like, why? And they'd be like, oh, there's like bobcats in there. And we're like, no, there's no bobcats in there, dude.
There might have been.
No, there weren't. And it's
No.
funny. It's funny that, but we had like people from my town had the same fear of New York City. It's just so funny how like the unknown is so scary to people when neither are scary.
Can I tell you a funny story
Sure.
about bobcats?
Yeah.
So a friend of mine who's a doctor told me a story about how he had treated a patient that had crazy lacerations all over his arms. And this guy, had a nice house, but he had a lot of chickens and they were his pride and joy. Lots of chickens, probably 30 or 40 chickens. One day he came home from work and he saw a bobcat had murdered like 30 of the chickens.
Oh my God.
And in a crime of passion, he went after the bobcat with his bare hands and killed it.
Oh my God. That's sick.
I think he did that thing that King Kong does to the T-Rex in Kong Skull Island or whatever. He took its jaws and just broke its face open.
Oh my God.
I think that's what he did. But in the process, he, got bitten a dozen times.
Oh my God.
But he loved those chickens so much that he just couldn't help himself. He didn't go get a gun, which he had. He didn't get a shovel. Just killed it with his bare hands. Just went after it, jujitsu against a bobcat.
That's crazy. How big are bobcats?
They're not as big as you'd think, but they're no joke.
Right.
They're very lithe,
They
squirrely.
They say that encountering a mountain lion is not something you want to do. I don't think they're the same thing. But sometimes like names for things will just be the same thing. Like I'll be like, oh, like what? Like like an osprey is just a hawk that like lives near the water, like near salt water. But it's a hawk.
It's
still,
a specific.
right?
No, it's a bird of prey.
So are hawks.
Yes, but
Isn't it
not
just a
all
kind of hawk? Is it not a
all
hawk?
birds of prey are hawks.
I know, but I think like I remember reading. I'm sure I'm probably.
You
wrong
might be
about
right.
this.
You might be right that an osprey is a hawk,
It's
but
just
I
a
wouldn't
hawk.
have known that.
But sometimes, like for example, puma versus
Ocelot, lynx.
right. What is fucking what? Like is a bobcat one of those or bobcats?
These
its
are
own
all
thing?
different species.
They're all different
but they're in the cat family.
Dude, I saw
Catus cutus.
I saw a coyote,
Oh,
which our pal Peter Fowler has told me is the way you say it. If you were to go to Arizona and call it a coyote, apparently, people would think you were like a huge pussy. So you need to say coyote.
I
If
feel
you go,
like.
if you go in there and say coyote, people would be like, "What the fuck are you talking about?" That's what
Okay.
he said. I don't know.
All right.
May or may not be true.
Where'd you see that?
I saw a coyote in Griffith Park in LA on a trail, and dude, this thing did such coyote-like behavior. It saw me, and it saw that I saw it, and it very like sneakily and softly kind of dipped back into the shadow.
Ooh, that
Dipped
is.
into the shadow, like
Yeah.
I was like, okay, coyote.
Can I say though that I do prefer coyote?
It sounds nice, right?
It feels to me more like the First People's way of saying it.
But at least I know how to fit in now. If I were to encounter some Westerners,
But do you want to fit in?
it depends. My nature would probably make it so that I would.
That's so non-Julio to me. I think you are somebody who is.
I like to fit in.
You are who you are.
That may be true, but I still feel like I can perhaps win over this new group of people by using their terms. Since I don't feel that strongly about coyote versus
You don't feel
coyote.
that strongly.
You feel strongly.
I think I would probably go to Arizona and say coyote, and then they would laugh at me, and they would say it's coyote around here, and I would say, well, you have your way, and I have mine.
That's really nice. That's a nice way to do that too.
Do you think that you could?
They'd probably respect you more for that.
Do you think that if you ran into a mountain lion and had to fight it, with your bare hands, you could succeed?
Probably not. I'm wondering.
I think it would kill you.
I don't know what would happen, but as it ran towards me, I would try to like kick it, I guess, in the face or something.
I think you pick up some rocks. I think you got to get some
really?
rocks going. Yeah.
But then it might bite. Then it might grab onto my ankle with its mouth if I tried to kick it. Like they're pretty strong.
They are, and they're biting, and it hurts hurts like hell. But if you can keep your wits about you, now it's attached to you, and I think you do an MMA move. I think you kind of get
chokehold.
You get it around its on its back, choke that shit out, break its neck. I don't know.
I might do that thing. I've seen videos of guys scaring bears away where they get up big and they go, "No, bear, go away, bear."
Yeah.
Don't you do that, bear?
Bear.
And then they go away.
I'm not fucking with. I would much rather encounter a
But in this scenario, you have no choice.
bobcat
You've
or a
encountered-
mountain lion. I would rather take on a bobcat or a mountain lion than a bear.
Yeah, I think
100%.
for sure, right? You have to.
Yeah.
You have to get some kind of sturdy stick where you can keep your distance from it.
Some sort of
Right?
spear. Yeah.
For a mountain lion. I think for a bear, yeah, you just have to do the get big thing.
Yeah.
Get big or die trying.
Mm-hmm. This is a MO I had for my wedding until about a month ago. Okay. That'll do.
That'll do, pig.
What do you got coming up? Oh, we got
That'll
Facts with Ryan. Facts with
do.
Ryan. Facts with Ryan. Were they lying or are they dying to the mountain lion?
Oh,
Facts
shit.
with Ryan.
Oh, shit.
All right, quite a bit. Start off with Buzz Lightyear. He was based off of a G.I. Joe character.
Ah,
Fun fact.
Didn't know
that is
that.
fun. No idea.
Unless you're having a Jack and Jill bridal shower, the groom does not generally attend until maybe afterwards to say thank you, as most of the gifts are also for him.
Very nice.
Gladiator came out in 2000. It's 2 hours and 35 minutes long.
It's a long movie.
Briefly mentioned gas station sex pills.
Yeah,
very, very briefly, a couple brands, Rhino Bighorn and Power Zone. Is it Mount Sinai?
Sinai.
Mount Sinai was founded in September of 2013.
Wow. Is that new? I thought it was much.
Older
We're not talking about like the biblical reference. I think there's a Mount Sinai in the Bible, right? We're talking about the New York area medicine
Correct.
branch
Correct.
hospitals.
For white blood cells, you can grow more by taking multivitamins that have B12 and folate.
Oh,
There
shit.
you go.
That's you.
That's me, baby.
You need to get on that.
I
I'm
need to
worried
get on
about
that.
you.
I need to get on that. Thank
If
you.
caught at an early enough stage, Lyme's disease can be cured with antibiotics. So I was looking up metal railing.
Yes.
I was searching for the type of one that you were talking about.
Yeah.
Everything led me to a playground website. The only way you're able to get one of those pieces of equipment is if you buy a playground in bulk. And the K73806B playground model is quoted between $20,000 and $25,000.
Damn,
Oh, my
bro.
God.
And that's for older groups, 5 to 12. A priest is ordained, a monk is not. You were correct on Chef's Table. It's a season 3 episode called A Guide to the Stars.
Nice.
Bobcats are generally 15 to 30 pounds. And then hawks and eagles are part of the accipitrade,
The genus?
Accipitridae family. And the osprey is part of the Pandonidae family.
Got it.
Those
Yeah,
are
not the
different
same.
families.
Different
It's
families.
both birds of prey. But did you Google, is an osprey a hawk?
They're not.
They're not.
They're not.
There
They're
you go.
completely different families.
Interesting.
You've put that in the win column for old
Could we?
Francisco.
Well, it's a win column for truth and facts with Ryan.
That's what we aim
That's
to do
what
here.
we need here. It's about clarifying. I say a lot of nonsense on this podcast. What do you got coming up?
September 15th at the stand. I doubt there are tickets left still, but if there are, get some. That's going to be really fun. Then October 20th in Charlotte at the Evening Muse. November 12th in Ann Arbor at the Blind Pig. Tickets on my website, notjulio.com.
Damn, awesome. I'll be at the Comedy Zone in Charlotte and Greenville in North Carolina, September 29th to the 31st. I hope to see so many of you there. Tickets for that, franciselse.com. Thank you.
Hell